I became interested in social work when I was doing community organizing for the farm workers in Tucson, Arizona. And one of the things that attracted me to social work was the sort of commitment, the strong commitment to social justice and the, understanding the person in their complexity, the socio-political factors that influenced how people sort of interacted in the world and how they experienced the world. So when I went to social work school, the training was pretty psychodynamic. That was at the time, way back in the day, and which was great, and I learned quite a bit. And in addition to that, when I got out, I was really interested in sort of thinking about how do I add on to that training? Like how do I incorporate people's sort of personal experiences along with what happens to them in society, you know, how things like race and class and heteronormativity impact them. So at that time, there wasn't a whole lot going on in this country, but there was certainly a tremendous amount in Latin America. And I went down to Brazil and did some training in the Paulo Freire methodology down there in Porto Alegre. And then came back to my job, which at that time was at Children's Hospital in Boston. And I have to say, the hospital was really open in sort of incorporating broader frames into the work. I worked on the Inpatient Psychiatry Service there. And we developed a model for incorporating socio-political factors alongside of the more psychodynamic traditional sort of social work methods. And that became known as the Liberation Health Framework for Practice. And we started that work about 17 years ago. And now, you know, there are liberation health practitioners all over the place, you know, as Greece and, you know, England and Boston and New York. And it's been such a privilege for me to sort of work alongside of my social work colleagues to develop this model and to implement a socio-political frame for clinicians. Because I think lots of times people think about political work as mostly being a macro social work intervention, and it's not. I mean, you can do great sort of political, socio-political framing as a clinical social worker.